Assalamu alaikum students. Before going to our educational topic, please subscribe my channel Muntazar Mehdi Science TV on YouTube. Press the like button and share this lecture to your friends and classmates who have no access to it to add in their science education. And those students that are preparing privately can benefit from our channel very effectively. Dear students, let's come back to our topics that are waxes and the terpenoids. So students, in this video lecture, that is the fifth and the last part of the classification of the lipids. In this video lecture, we will discuss two topics that are waxes and the terpenoids. Now students, we will start our video lecture with the waxes topic. Dear students, as in lipids, these are the combination mixtures of the various compounds. That is the nature of the lipids. Because students, when different types of compounds combine with each other, associate with each other, then these form a lipid. Therefore, students, the lipids are heterogeneous compounds. Dear students, in the definition of the waxes, same is with the waxes because waxes are such lipids, such organic compounds, heterogeneous compounds that are the combination of mixture of many compounds. Which compounds are included in the waxes? Let's see. Dear students, long chain alkanes, alcohol, ketones, and esters of long chain fatty acids are associated, takes part in the formation of the waxes. Students, all these four types of compounds, when combined, then these form a wax. It is often asked during the exams and viva that, dear students, during the wax formation, long chain alkanes or short chain alkanes are taken. Likewise, esters of long chain fatty acids or esters of short chain fatty acids are associated. Dear students, as we have already discussed that a compound possessing a carboxylic group is called a fat or an oil and are actually fatty acid. Students, a fatty acid has two important characteristics. Which are these? Let's see. Dear students, all the fatty acids which have been discovered till now and are present in the fats or oils contain even number of the carbon atoms. That is the first point. And the second point is that all of those fatty acids, among all of those fatty acids, the smallest fatty acid has 2 carbons and the largest fatty acid has 30 carbons. Likewise, students, for the alkanes that are present in the waxes has 2 points, that are these. All those carbon atoms that are present in the alkanes of the waxes contain odd number of the carbon atoms like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, like these carbon atoms. And the range of students carbon atoms in the alkanes is from the carbon number 25 to the carbon number 35. We can say that the smallest alkane that is present in the waxes has 25 carbons and the biggest, largest alkane present in the waxes has 35 carbon atoms. Namely, students, the range of carbon atoms in the alkanes of waxes is from 25th carbon atoms to the 35th carbon atoms. Namely, we can say that only 6 categories are present, that are 25, 27, 29, 31, 33, and 35. So the alkanes of these carbon atoms only participate in the waxes formation. That's why in the definition of the waxes it is said that and written in the books that the mixtures of long chain alkanes with odd number of carbons from carbon number 25 to the carbon number 35 and alcohol, ketones, and esters of long chain fatty acids is called waxes. So students, during wax formation, long chain alkanes and long chains fatty acids are taken, but alcohols and ketones are taken generally, normally, long chain or short chain. Students, I hope now you have clear your concept about waxes. That the waxes are the lipids and the mixtures of the combination of the different compounds. In those compounds, students, alcohols, ketones, and esters of long chain fatty acids are present. In addition to alcohols, ketones, and esters of long chain fatty acids, long chain alkanes are also included during the waxes formation. Students, those alkanes have only odd number of carbon atoms, not even but only odd number of carbon atoms from 25 carbon number to the 35 carbon atoms. So the alkanes with carbon atoms 25, 27, 29, 31, 33, and 35 only with odd carbon numbers are present. Students, about alcohols, ketones, and carboxylic groups and esters we have discussed in my different carbohydrates and lipids video lectures, that what are these compounds and how can we identify and recognize them. Only the alkanes left to understand. What are alkanes? Let's see. Dear students, alkanes are the saturated organic compounds and only single bonds are present in the alkanes. Dear students, there is no more space for any atom to enter further into an alkane. All the carbon atoms in an alkane has full 4 bonds. For example, CH4, that is methane, CH3, CH3, that is ethane. Next, CH3, CH2, CH3, that is propane. Next, CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3, that is butane. Students, from all these examples, you can watch yourself that all the carbons have their full 4 valencies and possess only single bonds. Dear students, in the alkanes, only carbon and hydrogen atoms are present and there is no more space for the addition of any atom in an alkane. And students, by the increase of one carbon in any alkane, two hydrogens will also be increased. For example, if we add one more carbon in butane, then this carbon will also take two hydrogens and butane will be changed into pentane. This is the same for the next alkane compounds. And by the increase of every carbon in any alkane, that carbon also takes two hydrogen and previous alkane is changed into the next alkane. That is the very important point about alkanes. And in this way, students, next and next alkanes are prepared, that you must keep in your minds. Because students, the general formula of an alkane is large bracket start carbon, smaller bracket start H2, smaller bracket close N, plus 2 hydrogen, large bracket close. By following this general formula, students, all the alkanes are made where N is a number like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Students, I hope now you have truly understood about the waxes and the alkanes. Next, we shall study the functions, the importance of the waxes. Dear students, as we have already discussed in lipids function, that waxes act as a waterproof material. What is meant by the waterproof? It means that these form a protective layer, a protective coating on the leaves and the fruit surface. What will the function of that protective coating be? Dear students, its function will be to prevent the water loss from the fruit's body. It means that the presence of waxes on the leaves and the fruit surface stop, check the transpiration process. So it will stop the evaporation from the leaves and the fruit surface. Next, waxes also prevent from the abrasive damages. What are abrasive damages? Let's study. Students, those damages which occur due to the friction are called abrasive damages. Students, when leaves strike with one another, then maybe due to the friction, their surface is damaged. Then what do the waxes do? Students, waxes minimize the friction. Next, waxes also acts as a water barrier. What is meant by the water barrier? Students, it means that waxes don't allow the water to enter into the body. So when waxes are present on a surface, then these retard the water supply from entering into the body cells from outside of the cells. That is the reason that waxes are present in insects, birds, and in many animals like sheep. After that, students, some insects are such as which secrete the waxes, synthesize waxes like honeybee, can also prepare wax in the form of honeybee comb. So a honeybee forms two things, honey and the honeybee comb. Honeybees can produce wax by nidifying. So in the honeybee comb, both of the things are stored. Honey is also stored and wax is also present in the form of honeybee comb. Students, waxes are basically serrate. If we define waxes in Urdu language, then the waxes means serrate. That is a hard medicated paste made up of lard or oil mixed with wax or resins. Students, any of various substances of either mineral origin, plant origin, or animal origin that are solid at normal temperature at room temperature and insoluble in water are also called a waxes. So waxes are present in the exoskeleton of the insects, but students, in most of the animals waxes are present outside upward of the skin, but in our bodies, in humans, waxes are present under the skin. Students, waxes are widespread in nature. Where students, where and in which form do the human beings secrete waxes? Answer is that in the ears, waxes are present in humans that we clean. In addition to this, students, if we put our hand in water, then can water enter into our bodies or not? Answer is that not, never. Why, students? Why? What is the reason of this? Because students, our body contains lipids layers, lipids bilayers. Our cells, body cells, like animal cells, contain lipids layer, a lipid bilayer, that are water repellent, that work as a barrier for water. So lipids layer, namely waxes, are water barrier for us, for human beings. Next, students, we shall discuss about the terpenoids. That what are the terpenoids things? Dear students, terpenoids are also lipids but are slightly different from the remaining lipids classes. Students, remaining lipids classes are called heterogeneous organic compounds which possess different types of compounds, but terpenoids have 2 points different from the other lipid classes, that these are non-fatty acid compounds in which long fatty acid chains are not present. But although students, its properties are like lipids, so terpenoids are classified into lipids. That is the first point. At the second number, students, these undergo the polymerization, do the polymerization in which similar units, alike units join. Dear students, as we have seen that in carbohydrates, monosaccharides join. In proteins, amino acids join. In nucleic acids, nucleotides join. Likewise, in terpenoids, students, in terpenoids, a particular unit repeatedly join. Which is that unit? Let's see. Students, terpenoids are different from the other lipids classes. That first one, in these fatty acids are not present, but in the lipids definition, it is said that the lipids are the heterogeneous group of compounds that are related to the fatty acids actually or potentially. So, out of all the lipids classes, Students, this is the only one class which does not follow the fatty acid related rule, that it does not possess the fatty acid. First point, and at the second point, terpenoids do the polymerization. Students, terpenoids are of just two types. If we classify the last class of the lipids, terpenoids, further, then it will be classified into how many groups? Two groups. Which are these groups? Students, these are steroids, first one, and secondly, carotenoids. Now, students, these steroids and carotenoids are actually the terpenoids. Terpenoids are also called polyprenoids. Dear students, if we see the terpenoids chemically, then we can say that these are very, very important groups, as all of the lipid groups are important, but that we have already studied. But why are we giving more importance to the terpenoids? Let's see. Students, terpenoids are made up of the simple repeating units that are called isoprenoids. When simple repeating units will combine, then ultimately smaller units by combining what will form a long molecule, a large molecule. So we can also say that the terpenoids are also long chain compounds, so these are also large compounds. Why? Because in terpenoids we have a simplest unit, that is isoprenoid. Dear students, do you have listened the word polymer in polysaccharide topic? Poly many, mer unit. So when many units combine, then it will form a polymer. In a polymer, only a single unit is called monomer. Which units combine? Monomers. So when monomers combine, then what these will form? These will form a large unit, a big unit, that is called a polymer. A monomer, one unit, but a polymer, many units combined. So students, a polymer is a something made by the combination of the smaller and simple units. Students, let's suppose we have these smaller and single units. If I combine and arrange these monomers together, then we shall get a large and complex unit, that is called a polymer. Okay, right. In organic chemistry and in biochemistry, students, we will hear this word polymer again and again repeatedly. That's why you must learn what is a polymer. Dear students, a polymer is a compound, large molecule that is made by the combination of joining of the smaller and single units that are called monomers. Dear students, a polymer is a general term that we use for the different types of the compounds, because students, for the convenience and simplicity, we write a single unit as a circle. Each of these circles will represent different units, different molecules. Students, in the case of carbohydrates, every circle represents a glucose, a monosaccharide. In the case of protein, every circle represents an amino acid. So every circle represents that corresponding monomer to which compound that monomers relate. Let's come back to our topic, terpenoids. Students, if we see the simple isoprenoid structure that has 5 carbons and is a 5 carbons compound, 1 2 3 4, 4 carbons of an isoprenoid unit, students, is present in a straight row, but fifth carbon is present here at the upper side. Students, at the terminal carbons, isoprenoid has double bonds here and here. Next, to stabilize the valency of every carbon, this carbon has 3 hydrogen, here are 2 hydrogens, and here are also 2 hydrogens attached. This carbon has its full 4 bonds, so it doesn't have any hydrogen. But this carbon has 3 bonds, so here is attached only 1 hydrogen. Now the valency of every carbon is completed. Students, now this is our isoprenoid unit that is capable of making extending the chain towards both sides. So it will break the double bond, and after breaking the double bond it will form a bond with every upcoming isoprenoid molecule, not students from one side but from both sides. The change will extend on, so double bond will break from both sides and the chain can extend on both sides. So like these monomers will come and will be attached to this isoprenoid unit. Further isoprenoids would become and would be attached towards both sides. So that large molecule in which many isoprenoids are attached is called terpenoids. Dear students, this word terpenoids is also known by the name of polyprenoids. Like this is our isoprenoid. What is simple isoprenoid unit? This semi is the isoprenoid unit with terminal double bonds which come repeatedly again and again, meaning that this isoprenoid unit come more than one time. This is first isoprenoid, second isoprenoid, third, fourth, and similarly so on. Next, towards this side, also second isoprenoid, third, fourth, and similarly so on isoprenoids would be there and attach here and here towards this side and towards this side. So when more than one units come and combine, then a large and complex structure will form that is generally called a polymer, and that polymer students will be called a terpenoids, a polyprenoids. Students, these terpenoids are then arranged into cyclic form that synthesize steroids like sterol and cholesterol as well as carotenoids. So terpenoids are used mostly to prepare different biologically important structures like rubber. Students, from which material the rubber will form? From terpenoids, because rubber is also a polymer, simple repeating unit. Likewise, students, polythene bags, shoppers are also polymers and are made up of terpenoids. Students, the plastic pipes that you have often seen in your daily routine life are the pipes of polyvinyl chloride. PVC pipe are also polymer. That are all polymers. Is that clear? Okay. Students, in the same way, the terpenoids are also polymers, of which units the terpenoids are the polymers of the isoprenoids units, isoprenoids. Students, why are the terpenoids the polymers of the isoprenoids? Its reason is that it's the isoprenoid is capable of extending the chain on the both sides. Both of these sides have double bonds. So here we can also join the new isoprenoids, and there we can also join the new upcoming isoprenoids units, monomer units. Next, students, by which reaction the isoprenoids are joined? Answer is that condensation reaction. Basically, students, there are two reactions by which we combine two smaller things and obtain a large thing. The first reaction is called addition reaction and the second reaction is called condensation reaction. Students, what does happen in the addition reaction? Like when 4 plus 4 is equal to the 8. This is the addition reaction. Next, what does happen during the condensation reaction? Students, in the condensation reaction, 4 plus 4 will be equal to the 4.5 plus 0.5 quantity. What does mean by it? It means that in addition reaction, when two things combine, then the new thing will be the conjugative product of the previous two smaller things. The newly formed product is equal to the smaller total of these two things. But in condensation reaction, students, when two things are combined, then along with a large thing, long thing, a smaller thing is also produced and released. That is called a condensation reaction. Students, as in ester formation, a water molecule is released, in which ester is a large molecule but water is a small molecule released. Next, when monosaccharides combine to form a polysaccharide. Now, polysaccharide is a large molecule but a smaller H2O molecule is also released by the combination of every two monosaccharides in a polysaccharide. Students, likewise in peptide bond formation, when amino acids join to form a protein, in which protein is a large molecule but H2O is a smaller molecule. Therefore, any reaction in which smaller things combine to form a large molecule, but along with large compound, a smaller molecule is also released is called a condensation reaction. Students, if smaller molecule is not released, then it will be an addition reaction. So when isoprenoids are also combined, then different types of compounds, molecules are also released, like water, ammonia. Different types of molecules are released from different types of reactions. Next, when isoprenoids arrange in different ways, then produce various different compounds like carotenoids. These make steroids. These make terpenes as well as rubber and various other compounds. Dear students, carotenoids are present in plants and in photosynthetic organisms in various amount. As you have heard that students, the chlorophyll absorb the sunlight. So for the help of the chlorophyll, the plants have carotenoids, which we will discuss later in detail. But now, students, till to this time, you must keep in your minds that the carotenoids are the second branch of the terpenoids or polyprenoids and are synthesized by the repeating units isoprenoids. Next, steroids. Our most of the hormones are steroids. Next, terpenes that are present in the oils, etc. So students, this is our terpenoids concept that is important as a short question as well as vex is also important as a short question. But students, phospholipids, triglycerides, steroids and cholesterol come as a long question or short question both. But students, these questions can also be asked as one part of the long question. So, students, this is our fifth and the last part of the classification of the lipids, in which we have discussed vexes, the function of the vexes, and the terpenoids, along with the polymer term and with the alkanes recognition, identification in much more detail. As well as students, we have also studied in this video lecture that the terpenoids are also actually the polyprenoids. At the end, I want to advise you that you must take care of yourself, your parents, elders, and friends that are very sacrificial for you. Lastly, many thanks for watching this your video.